The best financial advice you will ever hear is surprisingly simple. Yet most people completely ignore it because they assume wealth must be complicated. Society constantly promotes the idea that financial success requires secret strategies, perfect timing, advanced investing knowledge, or risky opportunities available only to a few people. But the truth is far less complicated and far more powerful than most realize. Real wealth usually begins with one simple principle repeated consistently over time. That principle is this: spend less than you earn. One habit, one rule, and one financial law that separates long-term stability from constant financial stress. Most people do the opposite, earning money only to spend nearly all of it immediately on lifestyle upgrades. Subscriptions, restaurants, entertainment, and impulse purchases. The paycheck arrives, disappears quickly, and then the cycle repeats month after month without real progress. Over time, many people begin wondering why financial pressure never fully disappears, even when income increases. The problem is not always low income, but often the financial system a person follows daily. When spending rises at the same speed as earnings, wealth never has the opportunity to grow or stabilize. But the moment spending drops below income, a financial gap begins to appear. That gap may seem small at first, perhaps just a little extra money remaining at the end of each month, or a modest emergency fund beginning to form. Why small financial gaps eventually create momentum when protected consistently over time? Extra money becomes savings, savings become investments, and investments slowly transform into income-producing assets. This is how real wealth quietly begins in the background. Most people search for fast financial success because they want immediate results and visible rewards. They chase shortcuts, risky opportunities, and get-rich systems that promise wealth without patience or discipline. But in reality, wealth rarely appears through dramatic moments or overnight breakthroughs. It usually grows quietly, slowly, and almost invisibly through repeated smart decisions over many years. The difficult part is not understanding the rule itself, because almost everyone already knows they should spend less than they earn. The difficult part is following the rule consistently when emotions and social pressure become involved. Financial discipline requires saying no to temporary desires and delaying gratification, even when spending feels emotionally rewarding in the moment. That discomfort is where most people fail financially. Modern culture encourages constant consumption by convincing people to upgrade every part of life continuously. Bigger homes, better phones, luxury purchases, expensive experiences. And social appearances become symbols of success, even when they create financial pressure behind the scenes. Many people look wealthy on the outside while privately struggling with debt, stress, and disappearing savings. Appearances often hide financial instability. Income alone does not create wealth, because behavior matters far more than salary size over time. Two people can earn exactly the same amount and still end up living completely different financial lives based on habits and decisions. One spends everything immediately, while the other slowly builds savings, investments, and ownership. Remains trapped financially, while the other gradually creates freedom and flexibility. Another important truth is that small savings matter far more than most people realize. Many assume saving small amounts is meaningless because the progress initially appears slow and insignificant. But consistency matters more than starting size, because repeated behavior builds momentum over time. A person who saves regularly develops habits that eventually change their entire financial direction. This is where compounding becomes one of the most powerful forces in personal finance. At first, compounding feels invisible because growth appears tiny and almost disappointing during the early stages. But over long periods of time, growth accelerates dramatically as money begins earning money repeatedly. Eventually, small, consistent investments can grow into significant financial assets. Patience becomes critical because most people quit before compounding has enough time to become powerful. They expect visible results immediately and lose motivation when growth feels slow in the beginning. But financial progress is usually delayed, meaning rewards appear long after the initial discipline starts. Those who stay consistent long enough eventually experience exponential growth rather than linear growth. Financially stable people often understand something that others overlook completely. Small actions repeated consistently create massive long-term results. This applies not only to saving, but also to investing, spending habits, debt management, and overall financial discipline. Wealth is rarely created by one huge decision, but by thousands of repeated decisions working together over time. Consistency creates momentum that eventually becomes difficult to stop. Another major shift involves changing the way people think about money itself. Most people focus mainly on spending power and ask questions like, "What can I buy with this money?" Financially successful people often think differently by focusing on ownership, assets, and long-term growth instead. They ask questions like, "What can I build, invest in, or use to create future freedom?" That mindset changes everything because every dollar has two possible directions: immediate consumption or future growth. Repeated choices slowly shape financial reality over years without most people noticing it day by day. People who become financially free usually master small habits. First, before learning advanced investing strategies or complex financial systems, simplicity repeated consistently becomes incredibly powerful. One of the biggest financial mistakes people make is increasing lifestyle costs every time income rises. A raise happens, and suddenly spending expands immediately through better apartments, expensive cars, luxury subscriptions, and larger monthly obligations. Nothing truly changes financially because every extra dollar gets consumed almost instantly. This pattern is known as lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation quietly destroys wealth-building potential because earning more does not automatically create freedom. Keeping more and investing more are what actually create long-term stability and independence. This is why financial discipline matters at every income level, whether someone earns very little or earns a high salary. The rule never changes regardless of income size. People who ignore this principle often remain financially stressed no matter how much money they earn over time. Meanwhile, people who follow the principle consistently usually build stability first and growth later. Stability creates emotional control, flexibility, and protection during difficult periods of life. Financial pressure decreases when systems replace chaos. Emergency preparation is another overlooked but essential part of financial health because unexpected problems always appear eventually. Job loss, medical emergencies, repairs, economic downturns, and sudden expenses are unavoidable realities of life. Without savings, even small problems can become major financial disasters very quickly. But when reserves exist, stress decreases and options increase. After stability comes investing, which is where long-term financial growth truly accelerates. Saving protects money, but investing allows money to grow and compound over time. Many people incorrectly believe investing requires huge amounts of money before they can begin. In reality, consistency matters far more than starting size when time is involved. Even small investments made regularly can grow dramatically because time is one of the most powerful forces in wealth creation. Years matter, patience matters, and consistency matters far more than perfect timing. The earlier someone starts, the stronger compounding becomes because growth has more time to expand naturally. Waiting often becomes one of the biggest financial mistakes people make. Another major truth is that money decisions are often emotional decisions disguised as logical ones. Fear, envy, status, stress, and impulse spending can quietly destroy financial progress over time without people realizing it immediately. Many purchases happen not because they are necessary, but because they create temporary emotional satisfaction or social approval. Emotional spending creates long-term financial consequences. This is why wealth building is deeply connected to behavior and psychology, rather than income alone. Habits, routines, systems, and emotional control often determine financial outcomes more than intelligence or opportunity. Wealth is rarely built through dramatic moments, but through disciplined systems repeated consistently over many years. And ultimately, financial freedom is usually the result of thousands of disciplined choices, quietly working together in the background.